Today's show is sponsored by the ABV Barrel Shop. The ABV Barrel Shop is located in the St. Louis metro community of Arnold, Missouri. The ABV Barrel Shop is focused on one thing, single barrels. Best of all, you can try before you buy. Head over to abvbarrelshop.com to sign up for their email and text distribution so you know what they have in stock, what classes are coming up, and who from the industry may be coming in to visit. The ABV Barrel Shop. It's where single barrels live. We are also sponsored by the Bar to Go. The Bar to Go offers traveling minibars that are no bigger than a small purse or toiletry bag. Best of all, they are fully customizable so you can create the perfect piece that is unique for you. If you own your own business, what a fun and unique way to promote what you do. Check them out online at thebartogo.com. That is the number 2 in the Bar to Go. If you have wholesale questions, call my friend Isabel Clark at 504-481-1297. Finally, we are sponsored by the Neely Family Distillery. NFD is a family-owned business that keeps ringing up awards in the spirits world. Head to Sparta, Kentucky to experience the family history, award-winning spirits, and meet the Neely family. Check them out online at neelyfamilydistillery.com. Now, on to the show.
Let's drink!
Welcome to the Bourbon Daily, the podcast about everything bourbon delivered to you every day of the week. Today on the show, we discuss what the bourbon person at your office really knows about bourbon. My name is Miss Beka Sue. Please join me in welcoming my co-host, Steve Akeley, as well as our special guest, Darren.
Hey, gang, what's up?
Hey, y'all. Howdy.
Yeah. This is the Sunday night of Snowmageddon, and Von Nieder's he's sick. He says he's sick, and then Bronner is just MIA. So I think he probably spent the day just getting trashed and everything to do, and that's in my mind what's happening there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we'll see. I've got small talk. I have one of our valued listeners has written in. Kathy Cool sent me an email and said, "Hey, could you do this on small talk?" So her small talk is, as we are Snowmageddon, many offices have shut down both Sunday and Monday. Now, the idea is that Monday morning commute may be a little bit bad, but things should be together and opened up, by mid-morning. And then she's like, I'll throw this out there for like the Barrel Shop or any other store that might be open. Is it okay the next day when they've said on Sunday and Monday the offices are closed? Is it okay to run out to stores like that? Would it be okay to go to the Barrel Shop? Should the Barrel Shop be open if my office says, hey, we're just shutting down, we're closed? Or do you have to automatically hunker down because the office has given you off? What are your guys' thoughts on that?
I think, hell yeah, you can go wherever you want. You can't let your job decide everything you do in life. Like,
so because everything's closed, you're not allowed to go to a bar that's open?
I guess the worry is if they're like, hey, it's going to be, and she has a real office type of job. It's a dental office. So there's not like it's take home work and stuff like that. So, that just means there's no work. So you just get to do whatever you want. So I guess the worry is, for Kathy, maybe she didn't state this in the message she sent me, but maybe the worry is you have a car accident, and then you got to call the office and be like, remember how you gave us off on Monday? Well, I went out and I ended up getting in a car accident. I'm not going to be in on Tuesday now. I guess I don't know. Why else would you be even worried about it or have any guilt?
I mean, I know that corporate kind of does expect you to just stay home,
right?
But you close the office.
Right, yeah. Exactly.
I didn't now it's different if you call in and say,
if you dial in and get caught.
If you call in and say, I can't make it because I'm snowed in, and then you go to the bar.
I agree. This is the rational thinking here.
You get in trouble. But if you decided, as my boss, that we're closed, I am allowed to do whatever the fuck I want.
Right. I agree with that. That's
the weekend is extended.
Right. That's on them.
This is another Christmas week.
Right. Yes.
As far as I'm concerned.
What do you think, Darren?
Yeah.
Yeah, I 100% agree. What I am wondering, because it's been happening a lot, What's up with everyone closing things before it even snows?
I don't know.
Why do we trust weathermen so much?
I don't trust the weathermen. And again, we're going to be very responsible at the barrel shop. We're not going to put our customers, we're not going to put our staff, we're not going to put ourselves in danger by saying, hey, we're going to be open no matter what, because it's dumb to do anyway. No one's going to show up. But I don't understand, hey, it's supposed to snow tomorrow, we're closing. Or in Kathy's case, we're going to close Sunday and Monday. You don't even know if it's going to happen. There's been times when they said it's going to be snowmageddon, and it just, it missed us. Something took a turn, and it missed us.
And like all the schools in the St. Louis area have closed tomorrow, and they started doing that before it even stopped snowing.
Yeah.
Today. They're like, yep, no, we're good.
We're good.
Like,
we're out.
What the hell?
Peace out.
Buffalo Trace said they were going to be closed. Like Friday, Buffalo Trace said we're closed on Sunday. And I was like, we didn't even announce that we were going to be closed until this morning at like 11:30 is when we told our employee, like we open at 1. 11:30, I messaged employees and I was like,
we're calling.
Like, we're going to just be closed. Like I've been watching, like I've been counting how many cars been going by. And I'm like watching the snow pile up. I've been watching the weather. Like, for one, we're not going to get anyone in at all. And for two, we don't need you guys driving and crashing. I guess that should be number one, technically. But like, we don't need you guys to be here. And then also it's supposed to get worse as the day went on. So it was like, we didn't decide that until this morning. Like last night, we're like, should we be closed? And I said, I don't know. It kind of looks like maybe it's not going to pile up until later. So maybe we'd be open.
That's kind of what we did. Darren and I were in contact this morning, and we're like, what are we doing here?
We waited until an hour and a half before we opened to see if...
It's about what we did. An hour and a half before we opened was what we did. Exactly.
Well, like the one guy I knew for sure could get here. He was like, I'll drive my side-by-side there. He's like, that sounds like fun. And so like we could have had him just sit in the distillery, but I don't think we would have seen anyone today.
No.
Because there was no one on our road.
Right.
And even if you did, could you offer them, like, would you feel right offering them samples of things, knowing what they had to drive through? I feel like I would have a mental block there. If there was 8 inches of snow and ice on the ground, I don't think I'd be pouring samples as freely.
Yeah.
I guess that's not really like people are adults.
Yeah, I guess that's not our decision.
I mean, like, people are doing that anyways, so,
they're
like...
adults till they crash, and then they're like, it's your fault. You know how that shit is. Yeah. But, I think, today's the right call, and tomorrow may be the right call as well. I'm going to see what happens. We got all of overnight. We got all tomorrow morning. We'll see what happens. If it's bad and we're putting people at risk, we're not going to do it. If it clears up where it can be traveled, then we'll be open. We'll see.
Yep.
We'll see.
I feel like it's going to be bad for us tomorrow still. It's still...
There's a lot more snow coming your way.
So it's still hammering down pretty good here right now. And then it's around, I think, 10 or 11 tonight. We're supposed to start getting rain.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So
and you guys are behind us anyway, typically, because the weather's coming that way. It comes by us first and then on to you guys. So,
I mean, I guess it's probably better that it's raining on top of the snow.
Right.
Then underneath it, yes, probably, but it's still not great.
Yes, it's still just bad to get the rain, but I think that it being on top of the snow is better than being under the snow.
Yeah.
I mean, I
you can plow
I
that
know
away
it's
then.
Yes, I know it's better because like otherwise you just have a sheet of ice and then slippery snow on top. Where this kind of creates like almost a crust.
Yeah.
So
it's extra crispy snow.
Yeah, we got crispy snow, I think. So, but we don't even know for sure like how that's gonna happen. So I don't know. We'll see what tomorrow brings.
We'll see what tomorrow brings.
On that note, if you have the day off, fucking get drunk.
Do what you want. Do what you want. Go out, visit people, hang out, go to the bar, whatever you want to do. Yeah. We give you our blessing to go out and do what you like.
But be safe.
Be safe, of course. Yes. Don't put yourself in harm's risk or others, of course. Yes. On that note, guess what, gang? It's time to drink. What is everyone drinking? Let's start with Beka this time. Beka, what do you got there?
I have got some Castle and Key Wool Gatherer Kentucky Straight Rye Whiskey finished in Amberana barrels.
Wool Gatherer? What the hell
That's what it's called. Kind of sounds a little... I don't know. We'll just drop that.
Okay. Decent. Darren, what do you got?
I got some Catoctin Creek, our pick that we had at the barrel shop twice.
Okay. Beka has the lead, but I got the Bakers. I'm bringing the Bakers 7 here. Classic bourbon here. So here we go. No, Beka got it again. That was a disappointment. It was clean, but it was just too weak. So cheers, gang.
Cheers.
All right. We're going to take a quick break. And then when we come back, we're going to be talking about that guy at your office that knows everything about bourbon. How much does that person really know? We'll do that in just a few. Okay, let's talk about the people that make these shows happen. First up is the Stave and Thief Society. Via their in-person class at Moonshine University in Louisville, Kentucky, the Stave and Thief Society is the place where you, a bourbon enthusiast, can expand your knowledge and emerge an executive bourbon steward. In 2017, I completed my executive bourbon steward certification. It's the most comprehensive bourbon certification available and connects you with an expansive network of bourbon enthusiasts and professionals. Check out the full listing of in-person and online certifications and join the society today by enrolling at staveandthief.com. Speaking of Executive Bourbon Steward certification, the ABV Barrel Shop in St. Louis, Missouri has developed a unique partnership with the Stave and Thief Society to offer a preparatory class to assist you in getting your Executive Bourbon Steward certification. This prep class costs only $25 and is available to take live or online via Zoom. Graduates of our class receive a coupon code good for 15% off your Executive Bourbon Steward certification held in Louisville, Kentucky. This saves you almost $90. Additionally, you can collaborate with fellow attendees to split travel costs when you go to Louisville. If you're interested in signing up for the class, simply head over to abvbarrelshop.com and check out the classes and events page. Last but not least, we are sponsored by Neely Family Distillery. Royce Neely is the 11th generation distiller in one of America's oldest distilling families. A visit to Neely Family Distillery takes you through family history, where you can see all the artifacts and newspaper clippings through the years from this family that started distilling in America after James Neely arrived from Northern Ireland in 1740. Today, Royce Neely and his team are crafting some of the best spirits in America. Their bourbon and absinthe offerings keep winning top honors in the spirits competitions. Recently, their absinthe made history as the first platinum winner in the absinthe category at the San Francisco Spirits Competition. Neely Family Distillery is definitely a bucket list destination if you are a bourbon fan. Learn more about their spirit offerings, visiting their facility, and the awards they have collected over at NeelyFamilyDistillery.com. And now, back to the show.
Hi, I'm Stephanie MacLeod. You are listening to the Bourbon Daily. The real name of the palisade is an ampersand.
Welcome back to the Bourbon Daily. Today we're talking about, what does your bourbon office person even know?
Yes, we are. So there are always, and I worked an office job. I know how this is, and I was this guy. Hopefully I was not as obnoxious as the people that we have to deal with. But, there's always that one person in the office that is known as the bourbon guy. And I'm telling you, it's the guys. Women are smarter than this. They don't fall into this trap. They don't act like asses. There's plenty of things we can critique women about. This is not one of them. This is fucking guys. I don't know why, but it's fucking guys. So
dick contest or something.
Yeah. So there's I think it's the problem gets to be as intoxicating as the alcohol itself when everybody comes to you and be like, what bourbon should I get? Or he's got the big bourbon collection. Or when we're out at happy hour, I want to try a bourbon cocktail. What should I try? This person's making the recommendations. You should try this.
Yep.
Try that. Or hey, I'm getting ready to get a gift, for my father-in-law, and he drinks a little bit of whiskey. What should I get him? So they answer all these questions. They just feel like they're the smartest bourbon person in the world because everyone's coming to them to ask questions. So when they come walking into a place like Neely Family Distillery or the ABV Barrel Shop, they are
the worst
expert. So what do you think they really know? They don't really know anything, do they?
They don't know anything, because why is it that they recommend fucking like Basil Hayden and Woodford Reserve?
Right, exactly.
Like that's what they recommend to people.
Yeah, Woodford
and
Reserve.
And it's like, okay. Mm-hmm. And like, honestly, the person that's actually like truly the bourbon person, is quiet about it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're not blabbing their mouth about it. They're not opening their mouth. Like they're not, like they're just kind of like they know stuff, but they're just kind of like letting that bourbon dork, like just run their fucking mouth the whole time. Because like, what are you gonna like? Unless you work at a distillery, which clearly you don't, because you work at this corporate office. They'll be like, "Oh, how would you know that?"
Right. Right.
So, okay, Ashley McGee. Ashley McGee works in corporate for Verizon.
Yeah.
And she's got some bourbon bros who she works with. And they'll like be on like conference calls and they'll start talking about bourbon and blah, 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 this and that. And she said to one of them, oh, my friends own a distillery. And like, oh, yeah, whatever. And then she purchased a bottle of 23B because the guy had worked for her and like did a bunch for her when she had her wedding. So she purchased it and sent it to him. And he's like, where did you get this? And she's like, well, that's actually like that won best small batch at the World Spirits competition.
Right.
Like, how did you get it? And like he didn't really know what it was, but he was like, how'd you get this? And she's like, well, my friends make that. He's like, they make Hidden Barn. He's like, I've heard of that before. She's like, yeah, and that won best small batch.
Right.
And this guy
At
was
San
just
Francisco,
like,
the Super Bowl.
this guy's just like blown away. And then they did like they did a whole bourbon tasting, and guess what? It won the the blind bourbon tasting that they did at his house.
Yeah.
And they just like were blown away that like Ashley knew this stuff, and she'll sit there and they'll be saying stuff, and she'll try to kind of like chime in because no, she doesn't work at a distillery, but she's been here numerous
Been around
times.
it. Basically lived there for like a month at one point, right?
Yeah,
She was there for
exactly.
a long time, yeah.
And she lived with me at my apartment for a while too when I'm podcasting about this stuff.
Been around podcasting, been around bourbon people.
So she's like the sleeper bourbon person with the Verizon crew. And it's just funny because she'll be like, well, that's actually not exactly true.
Right.
And she'll call them out on it because like they just don't actually.
That's how they thrive, because the people around them don't know anything typically.
Exactly.
This is an example where they get called out, but
Yep.
most of the time they're dealing with people that don't know anything, so they can
have
be
a
the
clue.
expert. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they do the same thing when they come into the distillery. My
Right.
favorite thing to do is I ask that question when they come into the distillery. I go, so you guys like big bourbon guys, or like you big bourbon dude, or what? And if they're like, what? I'm like, okay, they're safe. And they're like, no, like, oh yeah, like I'm pretty into it. Like the way that they respond to that question,
Right.
I know how delicate or undelicate I need to be with them.
Yep.
I also like to tell people like, oh, you ever been to a distillery before? And they go, no. And I go, perfect. I can lie to you all I want.
Yep.
And you'll have no idea.
Right. Yeah.
My go-to when
Really what
people
these
walk
bourbon
in, I
bros
go.
are doing.
My go-to is, oh, what type of whiskey do you like? And if they make sure to tell me bourbon 3 times in one sentence, I know they're automatically one of those guys. It's like,
Or if they say, I don't really like whiskey, but I'm really into bourbon, I go, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, that's a really interesting fact for you to tell me. They say that they just like Basil Hayden, they
Yeah.
really like Blanton's, and they really like Woodford Double Oaked, and they only say Woodford Double Oaked because they heard that once, and so they know it'll probably make them sound cooler.
Right.
So instead of saying regular Woodford, they say Double Oaked. I just know that like I'm like, oh, okay, this is gonna go nowhere.
Yeah.
and then my other favorite thing to do is when they come in and they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm a big bourbon guy." Everyone comes, like, they're bragging about everyone coming to them because they work at a 5-person office and drink the most bourbon out of anyone that works there.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh yeah, and I have a huge collection of bourbon too."
They always show you too, don't they?
yeah.
It's like 20 bottles sometimes, and you're like,
Yeah.
You have a huge collection.
That's the weird one, when it's just a weirdly low amount. Which,
Yeah,
there's nothing wrong with that. But to be bragging about
Exactly.
how many they got, that's where I have an issue with.
You gotta be clear. We gotta be clear. It is okay if your collection is 20 bottles.
That's
There's
fine.
nothing wrong with that. But if you're coming in and bragging about how large your collection is, and then I see your collection is 20 bottles and
You're gonna
5
get
of
made fun
them
of.
are Blantons, then shut the fuck up. I don't want to
Yeah.
hear it. And like, you stop bragging. Like,
I had one of these guys the other day, Becca. He comes in, he's like, I really shouldn't be in here. I've got a huge collection, and we're getting ready to move, and I'm going to have to move all this myself. And, but I see a bottle, I want to get this, and I just shouldn't do it. This is going to be one more I got to move. So I said, well, how many bottles do you have? And he said 30. And I almost fucking lost it, because that's like two boxes. I'll give him 2 of Demetrius's boxes, and he's almost got it all knocked out at that point.
when you literally have to make if you move and you actually have to have an entire truckload of your alcohol,
Right.
that's when you possibly
Yeah. Right.
have a fucking problem.
Yeah.
Or you have maybe a large collection. And once again, we're not dogging on people that do not have a lot of bottles. And it also does not matter if you have a ton of bottles.
Right.
But when you're being a douchebag about how many bottles that you have, and it's like not even any, like,
Yeah.
no single barrels, no anything cool at all, like nothing craft, nothing like. I don't care that you found a George T. Stagg once.
Yeah,
For
exactly.
$1,000.
Can you be impressed by a bourbon collection anymore? I don't think I can. I mean,
don't think so.
people will pull up a picture. It'll be like a fairly cool bar, and I get it. Sure, that's cool, man. But I'm not going to be just floored. I mean, what's right behind Beka there is Royce's personal collection. I mean, that's the Neely's personal collection there. That's not the distillery. That's their personal collection. And, so I see this kind of stuff all the time. They're not the only ones that, I've hung out with Jason Bronner. Now, that's a cool personal collection, but so they can't really impress me.
No.
I think the only way I'm impressed is like their setup. I can be impressed by their setup all day long. Like Neely's setup is beautiful, right?
Yeah, there's some that you like you actually can tell that they've put a lot of work behind it.
Right.
And you're like, oh, holy shit, like that is a really, really cool room that you've created. Like that's like, it's cool when like they've gotten to make a really cool room out of it. And like, it also kind of just depends on like what their demeanor is when they're telling you about.
It's true.
Like when if it's just excitement, then like you kind of get excited for them because they're like pumped their wife let them have like literally this tiny corner in a room. Like then it's like that's super cool that you got to do that. Yeah, but if they're being braggy about it, you're like, all right,
whatever.
Okay, dude. Yep. If you met some of my friends before, you would actually be the fact that we have friends who have like spreadsheets,
right?
Excel spreadsheets to keep track of their stuff.
Yeah,
like
and multiple of them.
Yeah, that's insane.
I feel like I'm in the minority for not having one.
Yeah. Like that's nuts. But I mean, like these bourbon dudes are just like and they also always have like all the fucking stupid shit. Like they'll be the ones to say like, yeah, go get whiskey stones. Oh, I got that stupid like wood glass I showed you, Steve, on one of their shows. Yeah. The whiskey grail or whatever the fucking stupid shit that was. And I keep seeing it pop up on different stuff and people are like, no, it does like enhance the flavor. I'm like, shut. And like, I'm not going to get into it because I don't like getting into it with like strangers on the internet. Like, I just want to be like, shut the fuck up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you like it, cool, do you. But like,
have at it, right?
Like they're literally like putting their whiskey stones into like their wooden glass, and like smoking it, and like
it's like the hipsters of the whiskey world, isn't
exactly,
it?
Yeah, that's exactly it. And it's like they all have all the exact same stupid shit, and they're telling people to get this stupid shit, and then people who like are honestly trying to not be douchey and weird about stuff are like, well, I heard that this was like a cool thing to buy, and you're like, no. Who the fuck told you that?
Right. Yeah. No.
Don't buy that.
No, don't buy that. No.
Don't do it.
Yeah. So there you go.
Listen to your actual whiskey experts. Don't listen to fucking douchebag Dave in your fucking office. At the office,
yeah.
Who knows nothing.
If you're relying on someone at your office, here's what I'd encourage you to do. Go to the ABV Barrel Shop or a good liquor store near you, or go to a good distillery like Neely Family Distillery and hang out and talk to those people. And then you might also start to realize that person who's giving you all this advice doesn't really know all that much, and you can learn yourself. Go on that journey. We're very open to newbies. The newbies aren't the problem. The people who are new to it,
we love
fun
newbies
to talk to. Yeah, they're fun to talk to.
I like explaining that stuff to newbies because I don't get to honestly as much as I'd like to. There's sometimes it's really fun. We don't chastise
you, right? No, yeah,
we love.
We literally had someone in the shop last night that was like, "Hey, I'm kind of into whiskey, but I don't think I'm into real whiskey." I was like, okay, tell me more. And they were into like American honey. And so we tried them on a couple of whiskeys and they liked it. And I think I sat there and talked to them for 45 minutes and they were learning a lot. And that was awesome. But they didn't act like they knew everything either. So that was great.
Yeah.
People who are willing and want to learn. That's actually the problem with the corporate bros is they think they already know enough. They've listened to like some other like douchey podcast that like doesn't really know anything at all, and like so they think that they have learned everything they need to know, and they don't know shit.
Exactly. Yeah. So don't be that person. Just be a good person. So there you go. We're going to wrap this one up as we always do by talking about where people can find us. Darren, we'll start with you. Where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram at the Bourbon Adventures.
Miss Beka Sue.
Like you said, just be a good person, Steve, and we're just sitting here being so judgy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because we have to deal with them.
We're
to deal
being
with them.
the worst people.
We
So
can't
don't be like us.
We can't be how we want to be. I can't torch people like I'd want to because I own a business. Neither can you, Beka. It's bad form to really light into someone just because they're an idiot. So you got to kind of let them go and just choose to not engage battle when clearly everything in you is saying engage in battle right here. So it's tough. So yeah.
You can find me on Twitter and on Instagram at Miss Beka Sue 1K no C's.
All right, for me, I'm an easy guy to find. I'm at Steve Akeley, Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. I've got a website, steveakeley.com. We've also got a company website. That's abvnetwork.com. Check it out. Everything that we do is out there. Previous shows, blogs, so much more, abvnetwork.com. Come by and see us, the ABV Barrel Shop, the place where you can try before you buy. We're online, abvbarrelshop.com. Miss Beka Sue, anything else to say before we get out of here?
I'd just like to remind our audience to please give us a 5-star review that includes comments. It helps new people find the show, which is very important to us. If you like what we're doing, please visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/the ABV Network.
Great job today, gang. For our audience, we'll have a brand new show for you tomorrow. Looking forward to that. Until then, take care, everybody. See ya.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.
Peace. Before we let you go, let's talk about one last thing. The ABV Barrel Shop in the St. Louis community of Arnold, Missouri. The ABV Barrel Shop is focused on a couple of things. First of all, single barrels. We are the place where single barrels live. We go to distilleries, taste through the whiskey, select the best barrel, and have it shipped to our store where we present it to you, our customers, by allowing you to try before you buy. We're also known for the classes that we have in our education center in the store, as well as the events we have with industry professionals from the bourbon business. If you are in the St. Louis area, please come by and visit us at 6 Fox Valley Center in Arnold, Missouri. Or at a minimum, at least sign up for our email and text distribution so you know exactly what's going on in our shop over at abvbarrelshop.com. This is Steve Akeley, owner of the ABV Network, signing off. We thank you for listening to our programming and truly appreciate your support.
The Bourbon Daily is part of the ABV Network. For more information or to become a sponsor, please visit abvnetwork.com. Thanks for listening and cheers.
This has been a Steve Akeley production.